We begin tonight with more reactions trailing the decision of the Nigerian military in declaring IPOB a terror group, this time coming from the former governor of Abia State, where the tension stemmed. Mr. Kalu has condemned the activities of the group, which he says were only being used by politicians for political reasons. He says the fight by IPOB for Biafra is not sincere and has asked the federal government to consider the 2014 confab to help douse the tension across the land.
When you go to a place, somebody shows army uniform. Somebody say he had Biafra intelligence agency. Somebody tell you he had Biafran army. Do you need to bring police? You don't need to bring police, for God's sake. You need to roll out the army because he has challenged the sovereignty of our nation. And that is what is this. I don't know why people are shouting all over. I'm in Abia. I have seen mostly all the security chiefs. I've gone around Abia. I've gone around to see things by myself. That the governors are trying to rally around now. They were, let me be honest with you, some of politicians were playing politics with it. They are thinking these boys will help them to win an election. It's impossible. It's not our law. It's not our way. Election must be democratically done. These boys are not capable of holding anybody to ransom because they are not sincere. Fight for Biafra is not a sincere fight, it's destruction. If it's sincere, it will succeed. If it's not sincere, it's gone to the dustbin because it's not sincere. What is sincere is that we must come back to see how Igbos, everywhere we are, we must get equity. Restructure is the only way that we can go. Country must restructure. Socially, restructuring does not mean divide the country. Restructuring means put things in order. We have gone past going to Abuja every month to share money. We are now thinking, how do we going to live together as a country? We should go back to the conference resolutions. Let's start with that because that was constituted fairly. Let us go back. I'm pleading with the federal government, with everybody, to go back with the 2014 constitutional confab, reform the report. Let us implement it. Once implement it, and they should know that the Southeast should have one more state to be able to balance. And we know that all this whoosh and every cry about marginalization, we start addressing it. So it's easy.
Former Governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu. More information is coming about the activities of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and the declaration of the group as a terrorist organization by the Nigerian army. Today, the federal government said IPOB is being sponsored by what it describes as a coalition of disgruntled elements and treasury looters with the aim of destabilizing the country and also triggering chaos. The Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, in a statement says Nigerians must understand that IPOB was not set up to fight for the rights of anyone or group, but as a tool to destabilize the nation, divert attention from the efforts of the Buhari administration, and obliterate the laudable achievements of the government. Mr. Mohammed reminds Nigerians of the activities of the IPOB leader, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, whom he says led a protest at the Nigeria House in London against Boko Haram insurgency and in support of Nigeria's unity under the Jonathan administration, and has suddenly metamorphosed into an IPOB monster who will rather set the nation ablaze. The minister also thanked the military for their timely decision, which helped to stop IPOB from setting the nation on fire, and the intervention of the governors of the state in the southeast who have proscribed the group. The security of lives and property in Anambra State remains crucial priority for the government. As came to the fore at a town hall meeting in Awka, the state capital, where Governor Willie Obiano announced that every decision made by his administration is in the interest of the people of the state.
The governor of Anambra State, Mr. Willie Obiano, arrives at the venue of the town hall meeting, the Professor Dora Kinyuli Women's Development Center, Awka. The reception includes service commanders and some members of the Anambra State Executive Council, traditional rulers, the clergy, the Muslim community, Presidents General of Communities, local government chairmen, market men and women, representatives of youth groups, opinion makers, and others.
Running a very inclusive government.
He's here to talk about his commitment to sustaining peace and security in Anambra State, which has always been a priority of his administration.
Every fellow, whether you are Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, anything, non-indigenous, you are safe to move, go about your duty without fear or favor.
The governor explains the military exercise that has been generating controversy.
I ordered yesterday the police and the army to guide the mosques, the churches, and what have you. It is with the interest of protecting lives and property.
Reassurances come from the police that provision has been made by the Commissioner of Police through the establishment of the Police Public Complaints Unit to report any issue.
Please, when you have such issues, let us know. Let the nearest BPO know. I'm sure it's going to solve the problem. We send out to our president every report like that we get, and we take disciplinary action against them.
The chairman of the Willie Obiano re-election campaign committee commends the governor for his wisdom in managing the IPOB situation and calls on the federal government to be fair and even-handed in its actions.
I mean, when something that is known happens, and you come with the solution that will, be acceptable to everybody, there will be no need to use force. Let the federal government help the governments of the Southeast by being even-handed in their actions.
Also announced was the latest developmental activities of the state government across the state, which include the electrification project that will benefit 35 communities, road and bridge projects, as well as more street lighting projects.
Just 2 days after its launch, the Nigerian Army says the objectives of the Egweke, also called Python Dance 2, is aimed at combating security challenges in the southeast part of the country, including kidnappings, farmers-herdsmen clashes, armed robbery, cultism and violent secessionist agitations, among others. Spokesman for the 82nd Division, Colonel Sajiri Musa, reiterated the exercise and similar ones with different code names in some parts of the country were deliberately initiated and conducted with an overarching aim of checkmating identified security challenges prevalent in the regions where they were carried out. He listed some of the successful exercises to include Operation Nawase in Southwest, which was designed to curb cases of illegal oil bunkering, Operation Shirin Harbi in southern Kaduna, and Operation Exercise and Operation Harbin Kunama in the southeast, targeted at combating cattle rustling, among other crimes. However, barely 4 days after the imposition of a curfew in Jos, the Plateau State capital, the Governor Samuel Along has relaxed the imposed restriction on movement. Mr. Along had on Thursday, September 14th, announced the dusk to dawn curfew between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. daily, following tension over the IPOB